everyone, it's Carla from Casey Creates. I just thought I would jump on and do a little video and show you what I've been up to crafting wise. I've been having fun making paper bag journal forms, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it. But I found a tutorial on YouTube probably about a year ago, and I followed it and made a paper bag journal, and I just thought I'm going to revisit that tutorial and make a paper bag journal. Then I got kind of into it and made several, which I think is a great idea, because if you have the actual forms made, that's half the battle, and you can get started with the fun part, which is the decorating. So I'm certainly going to give credit to the lady that I learned how to do this from. I did change it up a little bit, which I think we always do when we find a slightly easier method or something that works better for you individually. But I'll show you what I did. First of all, I bought these really inexpensive paper bags from the Dollar Tree. I've made them with Paper Studio paper bags, which are just a slight bit heavier. They're a little bit of a better quality. They have a little more of a waxy surface though, and that's what I don't like about them, because I do like how this is nice for writing on, and it's a little thinner. Anyway, even though they're cheaper, I kind of like the texture of these better. So it's totally up to you what paper bags you use. Towards the end of the video, I'll show you another journal I made, and I used bright pink paper bags. So the paper bags are really your choice, as long as they have the flaps that you can fold over. So when they first come out of the packaging, they have this little circle or half circle cut out, and I trim those off so that when I fold it over, it's a slightly shorter bag. I suppose you could just leave those if you wanted to make the bag, which is the pocket, open up easier, but you can also cut your own little half circle out with a punch. So with my paper cutter, I cut, I think it was about 3/4 of an inch to almost a 1/2 an inch off of the top, and I have 10 paper bags, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11. I only need 10. 2 will be for the front flap, and one will be for the front and back flap, so I can set those aside. So once you have the top of your bag trimmed off, if you want to trim it off, and you just take each bag, and the way they're going to go in your journal is that flap will be folded over, and this will be the actual width of my bag. Then the other thing you have to decide is what kind of glue you want to use. You can use double-sided tape, or you can use a glue stick. Now this Elmer's glue stick sticks really well. I wouldn't do this with a really cheap glue stick because I'm not sure how long it would hold together, but you basically just glue down the flap, and this part, gluing this part down is optional, but I want to go ahead and glue that down. And once you have it glued down, it'll open without that little dart being in the way. So I'm going to glue down both of those as well, and you just basically do that on every bag. So each little darted side and the flap, they get glued down like this, and then so you have 8 bags that you're doing this on, and then they get folded over like so and stacked and set aside until you're finished. So I'm going to finish the other 6 and I will be right back. So this is my 8th bag, and again you just glue down the flap, and you can glue down the darts. Please. And then you have them all glued down like so. Then in order to make the actual book form itself, you've got to glue these back to back, and the way you do that is you take 2 and you glue them just like this. You just kind of meet the 2 flaps together, glue them together, and press them down. So at first I got confused doing this, but you're basically taking the smooth side of the flap and gluing it to you can see the folds, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that. But when you fold them together, you have this flap in the middle, and this will be optional for stitching or sewing down for a pocket. So you're going to take 2 bags, glue both flaps together, and then they just lay down like this. So there'll be 2 bags, and you'll see where they're glued together right there. So I'll do another one. You take each bag. Oh, this one's interesting. Seems a little short. Let's see if that's truly... No, I'm not going to use that one. Seems like it might be slightly defective. So I'm going to get one more here. Oops, wrong glue stick. It's quick and easy, so I'll just glue one more down. And hopefully that was the problem. But I do like the texture of these, which is lucky for me because they're less expensive. Not that the ones at Michael's are that much more expensive. They're probably, if you use the coupon, they're about $1.50 more. Okay, so like I was doing, you take each bag, kind of line them up like this, and put a generous amount of glue. So I am a total believer in Elmer's glue. I went to the High School of the Arts where my art teacher back then was just totally sold on Elmer's glue for all kinds of things, and that was many, many years ago. So my brother used to make doll houses. So you see I glued them both together nice and snug and fold them together. And we found one of his old doll houses that he glued together with Elmer's glue, and that house has to be, I'm going to say, 40 years old, and it is just perfectly glued together. So I love this Elmer's glue stick. It's all-purpose glue stick permanent bond. So they do have the school glue stick, which probably works just as fine, but I like this one, and it seems to last longer too, so that's helpful. This one just seemed like it was a little short as well, but I'm gonna think it might not matter because we're covering these with paper anyway, and tags and things like that. So I don't like it being too short though. You do have a little wiggle room time as well, meaning you can move it around a little bit. Okay, so this one is a little short, but that's probably due to my inadequate measuring skills, aka I eyeball everything. So I'm not going to think it's a problem though, because like I said, it'll get covered with paper. So I have 2 more to glue together. So you can bear with me, and I will get these nice and gluey. And again, I just did it on camera, which is actually, whenever I'm teaching, I always say, oh, I did that on purpose so you can see what not to do. But again, it's a fixable mistake. Just fold it over the other way. And I think, in hindsight, you really want to get rid of the ugly part of the bag anyway. Even though I learned how to do it putting the smooth side together, I don't think it's going to matter. And I think that will be better than the bumpy side. So there, we can do this together. I'm not teaching you anything, I'm just crafting in your presence. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, which makes 8 pages. And then the last thing you do is you take bag number 9 and 10. Oops, I think I need to fold that a little bit better. There you go. Bag number 9 and 10. This is what the flap is, where you're gonna glue the cover, front and back cover. So I'll get these folded, and what you do is you take the front flap page and you glue it to the first signature for, I think I would call it a signature probably. So you're going to put glue all over this first signature, or you could just put glue on the 3 sides and leave no glue in the middle, and that way you would have another pocket. But these bags have such deep pockets that I don't really need that many, so I'm not going to worry about making this a pocket. I'm just going to glue the whole bag. So what I did was I folded it. I'm going to lay it right on top and glue it down. And this then will be what I glue my front flap book cover to, journal cover. And then on the back I have the same little task, which is put a bunch of glue either on this one or this one. I'll put it on here. I'm going to be generous with the glue. Okay. And then I'm going to just stick it to this signature, which is my back flap. Make sure I have it straight enough. I do. Okay, so these will go in the middle. And there you have it. That is it. And now the last thing you have to do is you take your signatures and glue them together. So this one will glue to this one. So basically gluing your 3 signatures together. And I'll move them so hopefully it's not too confusing. So the one that I just glued the front flap to, I'm now going to stack on top of this one and glue it down. And that's the one that was slightly uneven, but I really don't think it's going to matter. And then I take this one. So you're basically gluing them back to back. And I'm lining them up as evenly as possible. And then my last one, which is where you want to make sure the flap is like this, and just glue it down. And I just looked at the clock and I realized I'm supposed to be on a conference call so with the high school, so I better go. And it's a good thing I can just pause this video and I'll come back and show you what I did with the book form. I absolutely love doing these, and it's going to be nice when I want to just sit down and start crafting to know I've already got the forms made. But I will show you, I have that one, and then I have this one, and I have one other that I'll show you. I'll attach the cover for you, but I'll be right back. Okay, so, that meeting went long. I don't know if I want to interject. I guess everyone knows what phase we're in our world right now with schools being canceled, and so they're starting to do a lot of online learning, and anyway, that meeting was basically to say school's going to be closed a lot longer than they anticipated. Now the projected date is May 15th and we're only at March 23rd. So they're trying to get all the teachers to figure out how we're going to do online learning. And there's some good innovative ideas going on. I'm just a little nervous about it because I have a son who's a freshman and we're going to have to get him engaged in online learning as well. So it'll work out. I know it is. We just have to stay positive because nobody saw this coming. So it's a very tricky thing. Anyway, I want to get back to the paper bag book form. And when I left you, I had just created this one and showed you how to make the flap here to attach the book cover to. I just realized I didn't glue this down, and I need to. And then I was telling you how I've really been enjoying making these book forms because you can turn them into journals so easily, and there's no need to sew the signatures in. And I don't know why, it's sort of fun to think that after you get these beautiful journals done, the skeleton of it is just made out of brown paper bag. No fancy papers or muslin and all that, just brown paper bag, and they're very durable. So I wanted to show you some of the fun papers too. Like, I had my eye on these for a long time. They sell these rolls with that circuit cutter machine. I think that's what they call it. And I love this print, of course, because it's sort of vintage rosebuds. And I never wanted to pay what they oh yeah, circuit premium vinyl. But the good thing about this vinyl is it's not extremely shiny. It's kind of got a satin finish. And I just love these patterns. So there's that one. And I don't know which one's my favorite because I just love pink and green. So I'm going to make covers for my brown paper bag journals. And all I did was take recycled cardboard, and this is just from a mailer. I don't remember where I received this from, but I think I got some parchment paper, or what do you call it, rice paper that I ordered came in here. And so I just measured a rectangle that would fit as a cover, and I already covered one. I love using damask print not wallpaper, but it does remind me of wallpaper. I like to use scrapbook paper as my cover, the paper cover, and so I just cut out 2 rectangles, and now I'm just going to cover them, and I'll show you how to attach it to the brown paper bag. It's pretty straightforward, so I'm sure I don't really have to show you this, but for the sake of just wanting to craft with you, I thought maybe I would do it on camera. And again, I'm just using a good quality glue stick, and I'm going to glue down my paper on to the board. And the other beautiful thing about doing these covers, this is a little crooked, but if you don't get it on perfect, I love to mix paper with fabric and lace trim. And so when things don't completely cover the edges, it's okay, because typically I'm going to always have something else on the paper, like a trim or you know, some kind of edging. And I thought I brought over another scrapbook paper to cover. Maybe I'll just use, let's see, I was thinking I don't really have to use a fancy paper because I'm going to cover it probably with a bunch of lace and trim. Let's see. I do want them to be the same. Actually, I like this brown piece. It's right here. So I'll just cover the inside with this. And I'll cut two. And I don't have my paper cutter over here, but to be perfectly honest, I rarely drag it out. I've got a large one and a slightly smaller one that it's kind of easier to work with in small spaces. But even that ends up being a little cumbersome for me because I'm not really a gadget girl. So in that amount of time, I have two pieces that I can cover this with. And so I will quickly glue these down. And like I said, I do have one paper bag journal that's on its way to being finished, and I used bright pink bags. So I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. And you can tell me what you think. I just decided to be brave and go with bright colors, and you'll see why in a minute, because the theme of the journal, it lends itself to being bright and happy and fun. But I typically stick with more of the muted greens and tans, creams and pinks. I like those colors. I find them soothing and yeah, kind of nice to work with. Okay, so one side of my journal page or cover will be this, and I have to decide. And I think I'm gonna make, oh, do I want the inside brown and the outside green? I'm not sure it's really gonna matter because I will be loading them with laces and trims. So let's use this one. And it's as simple as this, you guys. Watch this. You just take your glue and glue up the flap really well. And eyeball your cover so it's pretty well centered. And that's it. Yeah, I've got that one ready. And you're just going to stick it down really well. I'm going to glue this side really well. And you really could add the cover when you're finished with the journal. I'm going to trim this a teeny bit, which is what I would probably suggest. Go ahead and decorate all your pages first, but I wanted to show you this. The only part you wouldn't be able to decorate is the inside flap. Well, maybe you could, but I would still wait probably. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this one down and get it as centered as possible, like so. And then the last thing you would do is you would make your spine, and just say for instance you wanted this to be your spine. I would make an allowance of about, what would I do, about 2.5 to 3 inches for the spine. I can't remember who made this. This might be K & Company scrapbook paper. If you can see, I like to line the spine and sew it on the sewing machine, just to make it a little more durable. But it's really fun that you can make the cover and the spine so quickly, and you would basically just glue it. Now you could glue it before you attach it, but I kind of like to put the covers on first and then glue it, and so you can see how this is going to end up being the spine, and then when you open it, that'll be there. But let me show you mine. Now prepare yourself, it is quite bright. This is the back, and I did use that pretty pink damask paper and eyelash trim, and I'm not finished with it yet. There's a few more decorative things I want to do. I'm going to put a lace pocket back here, and I'm going to actually put another trim over the eyelash trim so it doesn't look too shabby. Then on the spine, I hope you can see this. This is some beautiful scrapbook paper, and I covered it with some matte Mod Podge, and I'm going to put one more layer of the Mod Podge on there because it gives it almost a leathery feel. And then I did stitch some cheesecloth and another couple pieces of lace just to make it a little more durable. And then this is the cover, and I used a really pretty Sweet Flowers image, and it's got a teacup. And the reason I said it sort of lends itself to these bright colors is because this is going to be what I call my Flowers and Tea paper bag journal. So you can see I've got a pretty rose embellishment there, and throughout the journal there's going to be some iridescent shininess, and I just kind of stitched around this. And so it's not finished. I had this wonderful little girl's dress that I was really about to get rid of, and I finally decided it was time to cut it up and start using it. And believe it or not, the lace, all of this was all on the dress. This looks like a separate piece of like seam binding, but it's not. So with each flap of the paper bag, I put a rectangle of, I'm trying to get in frame better, of the fabric. And then I gessoed some of the bag because, I mean, it's a loud paper bag. But I'll show you what I was talking about as far as the paper bags. They serve as pockets. So I'll come back and show you after I decorate each page. I've been having fun making all kinds of little putsy tags, and most of the brightness of the bag will be covered up. But each flap has some of the little girl's lacy chiffon type dress. And then these will probably end up being pockets. And so there's the back page again with the pretty damask paper. So it's not finished, but I did want to show you how the covers are so nice. They work really well. It's easy to make the spine, and you can use any size paper bags, any color paper bags, and they just make a really nice journal. So I'm going to finish working on getting a spine on this one, and I have 2 more. And I may just use up all my bags making some journal forms so that I can keep them on hand and put journals together, you know, periodically whenever I really am in the mood to create a paper bag journal. So I wanted to just spend a little time and craft and chat with you and show you what I've been up to, and I look forward to seeing your videos as well. So I hope to see you again soon, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.